Today, we're fortunate to have Forcura here in Jacksonville and have Elizabeth Watson joining us. And so, definitely looking forward to hearing more from Elizabeth. Let me share a little bit of information about Elizabeth. So, as I said, she is a recruiter at Forcura, and in her role, she manages talent acquisition. She oversees the entire recruitment process to attract and retain top talent that aligns with Forcura's growth and mission. And additionally, Elizabeth leads corporate wellness initiatives, organizing activities and programs to enhance employee health and well being. Previously, Elizabeth spent over 12 years at Step Up for Students, which is an education nonprofit where she held various roles in fundraising and operations. A proud graduate of the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, Elizabeth earned her Bachelor of Science in Public Relations. Outside of work, Elizabeth enjoys traveling, baking, and spending quality time with her boyfriend Matt and their two dogs, Lolo and Ivy. Welcome this morning, Elizabeth. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and we are going to launch right into our questions for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie, for that introduction. That was so nice. It's funny to hear your own bio read to you.
Right. Well, we're super excited that you're here today. And we've shared a little bit about your organization and the role that you play, but if you could just kind of illuminate that a little bit more in depth for us, Elizabeth, like the mission, the vision, the size of the company, future expansion, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm happy to. It is so exciting to hear about everything that's happening in Jacksonville and here in Northeast Florida. Forcura at its core is a Jacksonville-based software company. You know, our founder and CEO, Craig, who is still our founder and CEO and very involved and active in the company, is just so proud to have our offices, our only offices here in Jacksonville, not too far from the town center, very centrally located. And we're also so proud to be one of, many different companies here in Jacksonville that are innovating and bringing great jobs. I'm biased, but great jobs to the area. So as you mentioned, Forcura is a healthcare technology company. We have a suite of software products that is used primarily by healthcare companies that are delivering healthcare in the home, so home-based care. If you think of that, that would be like a home health agency, hospice, palliative care, maybe some therapies that occur there in the home. This is, for those of you that don't know, this is a very growing, quickly growing market and kind of segment within healthcare. So we're really excited to help these companies that are growing by leaps and bounds, year over year, ever since truthfully, before, but really impacted by the pandemic. What we're finding in healthcare is that, patients really do recover well in their home. And, with those creature comforts around them, surrounded by family and friends, hospitals are breeding grounds for infections and, can't get sleep because your vitals are being checked, all the time. So anyway, this is a very growing, quickly growing segment within healthcare. So we're pleased to be serving this region. We have about 110 team members, about 90 of whom are here in Jacksonville coming into the office on a hybrid basis. We do have about a dozen remote team members that live in other cities and states. Our mission is to empower better patient care. We're currently doing that by offering these software products, innovating on these software products. But we really do see ourselves as a healthcare company with a mission at heart. We're not delivering the healthcare ourselves at the bedside, but we really are freeing those providers from administrivia and paperwork and that sort of thing. Our future is bright at Forcura, which is exciting. We've got a really good reputation in our core market, which I described earlier. But we do see a opportunity for growth, in other segments within healthcare, specifically within physician groups themselves. So not necessarily those agencies delivering healthcare at home, but maybe even your local physician's office or a group of orthopedists or OBGYNs, or it could be anything. As you mentioned, we do have we're approaching 1,000 customers, clients nationwide, even in Hawaii. I keep asking to go visit our Hawaiian-based client, but I'm rebuffed left and right. And our clients love us and are really appreciative of the efficiencies and the return on their investment they're able to get out of our products. So that's a little bit about Forcura.
Wonderful. I love it. So exciting. And again, the future is bright. And hopefully everybody here on the call is getting that sense from everything that's been shared already from, the jobs EQ information that Heidi shared and company announcements coming to this region, and now with what Elizabeth is sharing this morning. So the second question, just to kind of chat through today, Elizabeth, so there's so many paths that one can take in technology. Heidi mentioned a few of those particular job titles. What are some of the roles available within Forcura?
Yeah,
And,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh no, that's okay. The high school graduate, like what's going to be available for a high school grad? What will be available for somebody that maybe has less than a bachelor's degree? Just to kind of get a sense of, the types of opportunities that are there.
Yeah, absolutely. So the majority of team members at Forcura kind of deliver one of two work products, right? They either deliver support to our customers that are using the product day in and day out, or they are innovating on the product, whether it be actually coding or supporting our code base or supporting the cloud technology that kind of underpins our solution. And then the rest of us work on onesie twosie little teams, like the people team or finance and accounting and kind of back office, it's such an unglamorous term, but back office staff, if you will. I would say the majority, in all transparency, which is one of our core values, the majority of the roles here at Forcura would require a degree, right? But I am seeing some opportunities for a high school graduate or someone with a partially college degree or even a certification in a certain technology to really excel and grow their career at Forcura. I would say 10 or 15 years ago, if you wanted to join the software engineering team, it was almost required that you had a 4-year degree. But what we're seeing now is code academies or certifications or kind of quick and dirty programs that you can go through with a high school diploma and really have yourself a fantastic career. And then additionally, on our client service side, we've got support agents that are, on the phones or on the email, waiting for our users to call in and get that white glove service that we're so proud of. Those opportunities do not require a college diploma. We've got some entry-level sales opportunities, which is really a cool way to grow your kind of on the job, training there. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely onesie twosies, for a company of our size, about 110 employees. But there definitely are those opportunities there for sure.
Love that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question, to me, it really breaks down, hard skills, soft skills, or employability skills, as we like to call them, because they are very critical. So what kind of education path do you look for in prospective hires? We've talked a little bit about, needing degrees, maybe particular types of degrees. What are some valuable skills, credentials, and non-negotiable qualities, those things that absolutely have to be in place for success at Forcura to align with your mission and vision, providing the white glove service, all of those good things?
I love that you asked this, Julie, because we have a really innovative approach to finding talent and onboarding new hires. And we really have a model where we see people be successful at Forcura and grow their career at Forcura. And it's really leading with those non-technical or non-degree skills. A few years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, our founder, Craig, read a book called The Ideal Team Player. It was when our company was about 20 employees and it was, we were all shoved. I wasn't with the company at the time, but as I understand, we were in an itty bitty office in Tinseltown and it was very homegrown. It was very startup, and essentially the theory behind this book is it doesn't really matter what experience or what skills, hard skills someone brings to the table. If they're a combination of humble, hungry, and smart, um, they will be an ideal team player, and teams, strong teams, are really what propel a company to the next level. And so we've really hooked into that, sunk our teeth in, even though the company has matured and grown significantly since those days, the old, those old days. That humble, hungry, smart mentality is really important. We talk about that when we're talking about how an interview went or how a candidate looks or might behave on the team. We talk about those attributes before we talk about their technical skills, truly. We've had candidates come through who are check all the boxes technically, but are not humble, hungry, smart. And it's very easy for the hiring manager to go, you know what, it's not going to be a fit for us. So, my advice or my pleading to candidates would be, focus on what you can do, focus on what you can bring to the table, be a lifelong learner. Do research on the company, if you're coming into an interview, that would make up for, in miles, one skill or one, criteria that you might be lacking on your resume. Absolutely.
Got it. Thank you so much. And I think that's a really interesting philosophy. And I'm just thinking if we all framed maybe our skills or our interest in a company based on the humble, hungry, smart mentality, that could be a game changer for people with
Oh,
their
for
career
sure. Read the
aspirations.
book. It's an interesting read. Very interesting.
I've written it down. It sounds great. The ideal team player.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4, our fourth question on our list for today. How can students engage with Forcura to really have experiential learning opportunities? We hear from students all the time that they want to go and they want to tour a company, do a job shadow, do an internship, and data shows that students who have those experiences are more likely to stay within a particular region or stay, with those companies. So if a student is interested in this kind of experience, Elizabeth, what would they do? What steps would they take?
I love that you're asking this because last night I was literally at a career event at UNF until, from 5 to 7 last night. So, I mean, Forcura and many other companies in the region do a really great job of engaging with local colleges, universities, skills academies, trade schools, whatever. And, I love what you're asking about. In addition to something formal like an internship, which most companies have intern programs, Forcura certainly does. But those are more formal and kind of structured, ways of doing that on the job training. I think a company like ours, Forcura, I would say we definitely have an open door policy. If you are a student or you're not even a student, if you're somebody that's in the job market, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Julie probably has my contact information, but additionally, you can reach out on LinkedIn. I'd love to show you around our offices. I'd love for you to meet people on the team, where appropriate, sit into a meeting and just kind of see how a company like ours operates and what our company culture is like. Not everything has to be as formal as an internship. It could be something as easy as a tour or a Q&A. We did an event a couple of years ago, and we are still very engaged with the group over at Jacksonville University, where they brought a tour of students over. And then Julie, we just did an event with you with a group of students from the University of Florida, where just that action of interacting with someone in the workforce, I think it's just really impactful to students, because it's hard when you're a student to envision yourself like going to a job every day. But when you meet people that are on the job or have been where they are, it's almost easier to kind of imagine. And selfishly, as a recruiter and someone in talent acquisition, I take away my little stack of resumes, or I take away, a thought or an idea, about maybe how one of those students could fit into one of our open positions. I think it's just a win-win all the way around.
Wonderful, thank you. And I apologize. There's a great deal of noise occurring right outside my door. So if there is any
I don't hear
noise,
a thing.
okay, perfect. I've been very concerned that you all are hearing that and that it's damaging the quality of today's call. Is there a particular maybe best time of year that folks should reach out? I was just chatting with a company this week, and they said we have applications out after November 5th. We're done. We post it one time a year, and that's it. So is that the case with you all, or is it a little bit more like you said, just give me a call, we'll see what we can?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. We are a company that's on the smaller size. I know I have colleagues. I was speaking to them last night at bigger companies. I have a colleague that works for Enterprise, and they have Enterprise, which is the rental car and the transportation company. They have a very structured internship program. They bring on hundreds of student interns from across the country, and so obviously it's almost like a college applications process. It's a very structured process. At a company our size, it's less structured. We honestly almost treat our student interns as team members, right? So they'd be filling a need on the team rather than having such a structured kind of bigger cohort of students. We typically bring on 2, 3, 4 interns at a time. Most usually in the summer. And for us, those applications become available after the first of the year in anticipation of around a Memorial Day start for a summer internship. And then we typically align those towards like the school schedule, the fall semester or the spring semester, and then that summer period. But I would just suggest, on that note, Julie, do your research. It never hurts to plan ahead. If you are interested in an opportunity at a company like Forcura or any other company, a recruiter would love to hear from you. And chances are we've got a canned response, a kind of a little paragraph about how internship applications work. And we'd be happy to share, that information with you for sure.
Wonderful, thank you. Before I move to our next question, we actually have a question in the Q&A. And the request is, could you expand on the details of your software products and roles needed? And very interesting question, are your niche software products proprietary?
Yes, our software is a proprietary. It's built in-house. All of our software engineers are full-time employees here. We do have integrations with a number of other software providers in our market, and those are done through APIs. We also, I'm going to get to it in a second. We've got an exciting AI question, which it wouldn't be a webinar if we didn't talk about AI. So we do have partnerships with other vendors that kind of fuel our software products, if you will, or serve as kind of that underlayer. But I'm happy to dig into it. I'm not a technologist by any stretch, but our solutions are, it's a browser-based application. So our users would have a unique username where they log in and they're able to see right in their browser a dashboard, and they're able to make updates and changes and note-taking within that application. We have admin users, we have everyday users. It's a self-serve model for all of our clients. All of our solutions are, because they contain patient information and really personal healthcare information, PHI, are HIPAA compliant. And we also have a number of a high trust certification and a SOC 2 certification, which is around security for a software product like ours. We also have a mobile application where field workers that are going into the home and delivering healthcare can access on a mobile device, and have some really cool functionality around wound measurement, which is very cool. Note-taking, secure messaging where they can interact with other providers, physicians, their own colleagues. So it's quite a product. I'm very impressed by it, obviously, but I can't take credit for any of it.
But you're helping to find the people that are developing these solutions.
I am. So. And I would say too, what I hear from the people that are building and maintaining and innovating upon our solution, they really love that they're working on a software product that is helping people. So many of us have the opportunity, to work on a software solution that, not to disparage my friends in the fintech world, but, it isn't as meaningful to manage people's money as it might be to help manage someone's health if they're in, a dire circumstance or an end of life circumstance. So I think what I find is my colleagues on the engineering team really like that there's meaning and depth and real impact behind their lines of code. It's a really, it makes them really value the work and really put their best foot forward, which is great.
I love that. That's fantastic. So I think that also speaks to individuals that have that propensity. They want to help their community. They're just not sure how their
Yeah.
skills can do that. Here is one great way that those skills can be put to use. So we are getting closer to the AI question, but we do have one question before that, Elizabeth. So some of the jobs that you're currently hiring for, what roles do you see opening up in the near future?
Yeah, great question. I don't know how much I can share, but I do believe that we will be bringing on a number of members of our engineering team, new members of our engineering team after the first of the year. We do have a handful of roles open kind of on various teams now. Plug to check out forcura.com/careers. That is our careers page. That is always the most up-to-minute information on what roles we have open now. We have an opportunity on our sales team currently. We have an opportunity on our accounting team. We are seeking a staff accountant position, and then a couple of technical roles open. I envision after the first of the year, like I said, we'll have some additional opportunities available because there's just so much programming work to do to continue to deliver to our customers, as well as moving into some of the newer markets within healthcare that I spoke to. So definitely keep an eye out, between that web page. We also post them on various career sites within the community. And always check out LinkedIn as well. So anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to connect with you there. So
Wonderful. Yes, definitely connect with Elizabeth on LinkedIn. And just since we're plugging websites, I do have to say that on our findyourjax.com website, which is powered by JAXUSA Partnership, there is a jobs section, and we actually scrape jobs from Indeed.com,
great.
curate them so that they're specific to Northeast Florida, and really categorize them based on target industry. So this being part of the technology services industry, that's another place to be looking as well for those on the call. So we're giving you all kinds of interesting tips and tricks to find these wonderful job opportunities right here in the region. All right, now the moment we've been waiting for, our AI question. I do have to say, yesterday we had a meeting that engaged some panelists from around our region, from a variety of different industries, anywhere from transportation and logistics to marketing to healthcare, asking them about their AI use in their companies. And it was so fascinating. Efficiencies and strategies, upskilling existing staff, being a staff resource, envisioning actual work products before developing them, analysis of data for client pitches. I mean, there's just so many different ways companies are using AI. And so, of course, knowing we were going to chat today, I'm interested to learn how Forcura is doing just this as well. How is AI impacting your role in your organization, Elizabeth?
Yeah, well, I would say it's impacting our organization for the positive. There are some, I think we all have reservations, or I guess maybe things we just don't know about AI. I'm not a technologist, so it kind of, I'll be transparent. AI intimidates me in some aspects, but I'm lucky to work alongside coworkers that are more intrigued than intimidated, right? And kind of eager to get in there and kind of see what it can do. One thing that we have been so proud of at Forcura, being a smaller company, being fairly nimble in terms of how quickly we're able to bring a product to market. We have already developed, we partnered with AWS and their AI models. We've already developed and brought to market our first product using generative AI. It's a product called Referral Summary. For my friend on the Q&A who asked more in detail about what our software does, here's another nugget for you. Most of our users are using Forcura to review referrals. We are all familiar, we've all been patients or caregivers, and a referral is essential to the healthcare journey, right? We need a referral from physician A to physician B, or a referral for imaging, or a referral for what have you, right? some of these referrals for the patients that our clients are reviewing, we were surprised to find that they were 100 pages, 150 pages in length, right? And there was a lot of information that is key to their decision making. And frankly, there's a lot of information, maybe majority of information, that is not key to their decision making. Supporting information, important for record keeping, but they don't need to breeze through all of that. So like I said, our team members partnered with AWS to use some of their AI models to bring to market something called referral summary. And so this is a solution that our users are able to add on to their software. It's a revenue generating tool for us, frankly, which is important, and our users are able to generate this referral summary, and it takes that long referral document and summarizes it into a couple paragraphs. And that really helps them kind of make a more efficient and informed decision, and frees up their time to review more referrals, over the course of their workday. In our agencies and our clients, the individuals that are reviewing these referrals are nurses, are PAs. They're highly compensated, very valuable team members. So to review a 150-page document, page after page after page, is not a good use of their time, and really impacts our clients' bottom line. So to support them in this way and to roll out a product like this, I mean, overwhelmingly, the response from our clients has been fantastic. We brought it to market earlier this summer, and we've seen a lot of inbound interest and kudos already. And there's much more to do and much more to add on to it, but just that initial product has been a game changer. So
That's amazing. And that ties in directly with what somebody was commenting on yesterday, is that, healthcare physicians, they were taking these summaries home to review and prep for the next day. And if you had, let's say, 10 patients the next day and you're looking through 100 pages each trying to filter through the information, it takes a lot of time. So what a fantastic solution that you all have developed. And I'm sure you're going to see so much interest in this
yeah,
moving forward as well. That's fascinating.
yeah.
So sometimes people think they understand a company and then the roles that company hires for. Like, oh, they must just hire for software developers. What are some roles that Forcura offers that maybe people would not think about?
Oh, that's a great question. I love this question. We we have a lot of needs, right? So you're right. Most of our team members are, as I mentioned before, either working on our software base in some way or another, or working for our clients. But as I mentioned, we've got, a number of teams that are really supporting the software company, and progress and grow. Some unique roles that I've worked on over my years is, one of my favorites is last year we brought on an office manager, because we were back in the office on a hybrid basis. And it was becoming evident that we needed an office manager. And so it was a really fun role to work on. And we ended up bringing in a woman named Erica, who, like, we would all be lost without her. And it's a part-time position. She was looking to get back into the workforce. She was a longtime teacher. And, that was just such a fun role to fill, because it was the interviews and the day-to-day work that I was describing was just so leaps and bounds different from some of the other more detailed and fine-tooth, kind of roles I was describing. So that's a really fun role. Our finance team is growing, finance and accounting. Obviously we're creating software and selling it, but we're also billing for it. We're also reviewing contracts with our clients, with our vendors, so we have a couple of contract administrator positions, which are really interesting roles to fill. I don't think you would necessarily envision that. It's definitely much more cost effective for a business like ours to have those team members on site full time rather than to pay an attorney to review our contracts. That's definitely not very cost efficient. So that's one role over the course of Forcura's growth that we've been able to bring in-house versus paying an outside partner, outside vendor. Same with, we have a senior director of accounting. We used to outsource our audit preparation and outsource that type of work just because we were so small. But again, we were able to bring that in-house. So as Forcura grows, we are growing our skill set and more able to support someone on a full-time basis that's delivering those non-revenue impacting areas. Myself, being a recruiter, I don't generate revenue, but I certainly help us save revenue by not having to pay an outside staffing agency or, um, these sorts of things. So those are some interesting types of roles. It keeps my job every day is different, which I love, which is just fantastic. So
That's great. And that non-generating, revenue-generating role of yours that you're speaking of, if you make good hires, you are generating great revenue for the
exactly,
organization. So
exactly.
it's revenue adjacent, I would say, Elizabeth.
I agree with you, Julie. I couldn't agree more.
So many people want a career pathway where they can be productive and effective,
Mhm.
but they also want to help their community and help others. We've kind of touched on this a little bit. How does your company help employees do that?
We are a company that is focused on the health and well-being of our team members, right? The we could talk about happiness all day long, right? But essentially the satisfaction and contentment that our team members feel day to day, and the more balanced they feel with family or personal obligations and work obligations, the better team members they are, the better teammates they are, the better managers they are. And so, we really pour into our teams. And we do that in a lot of ways because not everybody appreciates free pizza on a Friday afternoon. That doesn't check that box always for everyone,
Right.
You mentioned during my bio, I'm part of my role is to lead wellness initiatives. That's not just, a walking challenge or a, 30 minutes of exercise challenge. We are bringing in, we did CPR training last year. That was like something that people really appreciated, so they could help their kiddos or if they're caregivers, um, we we do a lot of stuff. One of the things that we've really recently started doing within the last 18 months or so, from a mental health standpoint, is intentional opportunities for connection across teams. Isolation and loneliness is an epidemic within our country, and we are lucky enough to have some team members who are very transparent, honest, and open about how they wanted to make friends at work, which I just thought was very sweet. And so we do a number of opportunities. One of them is called Caffeinated Conversations, where you draw a name and you meet with somebody over coffee for 30 minutes, just to get to know somebody, so setting up those intentional opportunities to connect is really important at Forcura. And then finally, we offer opportunities to give back to the community through service projects over the course of the year is something we do as well. So
Wonderful.
during the workday with compensation,
Okay.
which is very important.
During the so that's important during
Yeah.
workday and compensation provided. I love the caffeinated conversations.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're having right now, at least on my end, because I
I
have had
agree.
a whole
I
bunch of
agree.
coffee on my drive in this morning, and hopefully those on the call are enjoying their morning coffee as well as we chat. So there's obviously so much happening in the technology space.
Yeah.
Just yesterday in the AI conversation, it was like one person said just in 8 months we have just seen like a revolution. What is going to happen in the next 8 months? And so to that end, just looking at the technology industry and what you all are doing at Forcura, what do you see happening maybe in the next several years? Long-term growth, maybe even 10 years out, if we can even predict that far ahead with as quickly as technology is changing.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Forcura is very involved and very networked in a number of organizations, and we are a thought leader within our industry about how technology impacts healthcare and how we can impact patient outcomes through the usages of technology. The way that Forcura contributes to that is more efficiency, more quicker turnaround times, less lag time to get information or approvals from point A to point B. Um, But I also think that Forcura could contribute in terms of interoperability through many different channels within healthcare. I feel like, you know, there was a leader in healthcare that once said, you know, you can take let's say you're out of town on a car road trip and your battery dies. You could take your car to a service station. They can type in your VIN number and they can see a history of all the service that your car has received. We can't do that with you as a human patient. So we have a long way to go in terms of interconnectivity and a clear communication channel through many different aspects of providers within healthcare. Um, and the more mature and the more advanced in their age a patient gets, the more information there is to kind of cull together. And so, we want to be a contributor to that solution. We envision a time when, you don't have to give a soliloquy to every doctor you see about your whole patient history. We envision a time that that's not necessary, and that quick time that you see with a provider, is on you versus on your history or documentation or things like that. So we're a contributor to that. We haven't got it all figured out, but we're pretty optimistic that we can contribute to that. And healthcare will look a lot different in 5 years. It already has. The past 5 years will look a lot different in 10, 15. And I think we've got a little piece of that pie, which is really exciting.
That is, I love the explanation of the car VIN number.
Yeah, that was like a light bulb for me. The other one is an ATM. It used to be that you could only go to your bank's ATM, but now you can go to any ATM and take out money, and the banks have it all figured out. They communicate to one another. But we don't have that same solution necessarily within healthcare of all these institutions and payers and insurance providers talking to one another. And I think that's the dream. I hope that's the dream.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. How exciting that will be. So, what message, Elizabeth, do you really hope resonates with teachers, parents, counselors, community-based organizations that have touch points maybe with veterans? What message do you really hope resonates with them about, you know, this industry and the opportunities that they may have?
I love that. All too often we focus on hard skills, binary information. Do they have this certification or do they not? And that has a time and a place, of course. But what I would encourage to counselors and teachers and even job seekers is be curious. If you're wondering about stepping into a new industry or stepping into a new role, be honest about that, be authentic about that. As you shared in my bio, I had no recruiting experience. I had certainly no technology or healthcare experience before I joined Forcura, but I did have some non-negotiables in my next career move that I wanted. I wanted to work at a Jacksonville-based company, having a network of individuals, a team of individuals to work closely with, not necessarily in the office every day, but to work closely with was really important to me. I'm somebody that really wants to make an impact. That's what motivates me. And I found that here at Forcura, and they took a chance on me. And I know that we take that same chance, and many companies take that same chance on other new hires or other job candidates who are hungry, who want to learn, who are curious, who raise their hand with an idea or a suggestion. And at a company like ours, those people are rising stars and ones to watch. If you're somebody that wants to come in, clock out, get your job done, do the minimum, and kind of leave at the end of the day, not make connections, not make networks within the organization, I don't know if we're the place for you, honestly, just at our rapid growth and with our strong lean towards innovation, we're looking for people that are asking, what can we do? What if, open-ended questions, which is scary. You know, those are hard questions to ask and uncomfortable, you know, to muddle through. But those are the types of personality traits we're looking for.
Wonderful, thank you.
Mhm.
It goes back to that idea of be curious, be hungry, be smart. Love it.
Yeah.
Looking back on your own experiences, we have shared a little bit about your bio and
Yeah.
you know, made a career change yourself. Looking back on your own experiences, what do you wish you knew about your field, your industry before choosing your own career path?
I wish I knew how important relationships and connections are. You know, we joke about going to a networking event or reaching out to somebody. You know, I have been so lucky in my career that those relationships or those affiliations or just knowing of people or being comfortable asking people for help or a favor or to review my resume or be my reference have been so key to my career growth. I met a job candidate last night who is a intern at another technology company in Jacksonville, and I said, "Oh, do you know Robert, an old colleague of mine?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's my supervisor." And I said, "I'm going to text Robert and tell you that I met him." And I did, and it's like, have I talked to Robert in 8 months? No, I haven't. But it's just those connections and those networks that are so important, you know,
Mm,
and that's really what propels, that can be what takes your career to the next level. I was telling the students last night, get involved, you know, ask questions, ask your professors for help, ask your, you know, ask for mentors, ask upperclassmen for support and guidance, you know, start making those connections early for sure.
that's a great point. And LinkedIn was brought up earlier. You encouraged everybody on the call to connect with
Oh
you
yeah.
via LinkedIn. That's another fantastic resource to
It
begin
really is. It really
building
is.
that professional
And
network.
good for upskilling and training. They have so much free content and free information about um, you know, how to set yourself up for success if you are either hiring or interviewing or what have you. There's a lot of great content that they've pushed out, which is really interesting.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, that brings us to a conclusion of the questions I've prepared. I don't see any additional ones in the chat. Is there anything that maybe I didn't ask, Elizabeth, that you just want to share before we transition to the next part of our briefing?
I don't think so. I don't think so, but I'm an open book. So if anybody after the call has questions or
Right.
wants to connect or chat, you know, I'm more than happy to. And I just really thank you, Julie, and JAXUSA and earnup.org for hosting things like this. It's just so healthy for us to have updates about our community, at the business, the state of the business in Northeast Florida. And we're just so happy to be here and contributing to it a little bit. So
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so very much for your time today, Elizabeth.
yeah, you got it.
And again, reach out to Elizabeth. She is a fantastic resource, fantastic person to add to your network right here in Northeast Florida. I am going to share my screen again, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information about EarnUp and some of the resources that each and every one of you has available at your fingertips. So when you're thinking about building a career pathway, earnup.org is something that was mentioned a couple of times. And as you see there on your screen, we do have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We actually house the workforce briefing videos on YouTube. And we have additional videos that are embedded into our EarnUp website that also appear on YouTube. The EarnUp website is truly meant to be a no-cost regional resource with updated data that is specific to Northeast Florida. We talk about all things related to our target industries, which does include technology services, as well as the support industries in our area that continue to grow because of our population and because of growth in the target industries themselves. A couple of things to note, particularly if we have anybody in the education space on the call, we do offer classroom presentations. Of course, these workforce briefings that we would encourage you to share with your colleagues. We offer professional development opportunities. Again, the videos that are on our YouTube channel and our website, those hype and deep dive videos, our career pathway reports, we updated every single data point on our industry reports prior to the start of the new school year. Again, all of this data is specific to Northeast Florida, and just like some of the information that Heidi mentioned on the charts at the start of our workforce briefing, that data comes from Jobs EQ. That's the resource we use. For any educators on the call, we also offer plug and play lesson plans. So if you'd like to share the EarnUp website in your classroom with your students, we have created some lesson plans for a variety of teaching and learning styles that you could absolutely use. And you can find all that information at earnup.org/career pathways. I've mentioned our industry report and industry overview. This is where you can see the average wages, annual demand, and how to get the skills needed to land great jobs, thinking through your career pathway and using the fantastic post-secondary educational resources that are available right here in this region. You're going to see things about the number of people employed in the region, average annual wage, top industry employers based on number of full-time jobs available, and then a sampling of some different jobs and average annual wages. With the industry overview, you're going to see something that was requested by our educators wanting to know annual demand of an occupation. And certainly if you are looking to transition into a different type of career, when you're looking at average annual demand, you want to be able to see that as a growth trajectory. If you are looking at a job posting and it has very few openings, or it's in that negative space, I would encourage you to look at some other opportunities that do have that positive annual demand. When you are looking at the EarnUp website, you will notice for every single one of our industry categories, we love to feature success stories. And you see here, I just did a sampling of some of the success stories that are currently on the EarnUp website. We have many, many more in our archives, if you will, that are on the EarnUp website. But I wanted to give a shout out to Carolyn O'Neill. Carolyn is Forcura's Associate Software Engineer. She is third from the left, and she actually received her master's degree in health informatics and a bachelor's degree in computer sciences with a minor in cybersecurity from Jacksonville University. And she was able to secure an internship and did so well that she was actually offered a full-time role. She was able to apply her education to organize and analyze health records to improve healthcare outcomes. And we've heard Elizabeth share a great deal about how beneficial that is in the life sciences space. So wanted to point that out, seeing a wonderful conversion of an individual who was an intern into a full-time employee. In fact, Forcura has a fantastic conversion rate of interns to full-time employees. Also wanted to mention, speaking of internships, we do have an internships board on our earnup.org website. And I just did a quick screenshot of the number of internships that are specifically to technology services that are posted right now, but this changes every day. This absolutely changes every day. We pull those internships in from Indeed.com. Again, they're curated to be specific to availability here in Northeast Florida. And then all an individual would need to do is just apply for those internships just as they would a job on Indeed.com. So set up an Indeed account and apply for those jobs directly to the companies. But, again, we have curated these particular internship opportunities to try to make it easier and a little bit more accessible to find and apply for internship opportunities right here in Northeast Florida. And certainly, in addition to all of the data and the reports and the success stories, we know that people like to have frequent updates as well through blogs and social media posts. So we do have a fantastic blog section on our website. We do have a newsletter that individuals can sign up for. Simply scroll to the bottom of the main EarnUp page and you can do that. This is just a way to be aware of new content, things that are kind of specific to a time of year. Brian mentioned earlier this being a focus on apprenticeships with National Apprenticeship Week, Apprenticeship Month. And so we take topical information and you will see blog posts generated around that. Again, this could be a great resource for you, for a colleague, for a student, just making sure that you are aware of the wealth of information that is easily available to you on the EarnUp website.